at A level, we just need to know that within these shells, we have subshells, and within that, we have orbitals. Okay, so I want you to look at this picture here on the bottom right. So this represents a snapshot of an atom, and it's just a blank template. So if this was, for example, chlorine, where we saw that they have the configuration 2, 8, and 7, what that means is that in this first shell here, this is the first orbital and subshell that contains those first two. S contains 2 electrons. Then if we move to the second shell, which is denoted by the number 2, before we said that 8 electrons could go into it, yes?
Yeah.
Now, what those 8 electrons go into is 2, again, in this S subshell, and the remaining 6 in this P subshell.
Okay.
Do I understand that so far?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah? So far, we've seen 2 different orbitals, well, sorry, 2 different shells. And then particularly if we look at this number 2, we have 2 different subshells. And then finally, these lines where 2 electrons fit, that is what we call an orbital.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll come back to that slide before. You can see this more clearly here now. Okay. So the little bit where 2 electrons fit, that is an orbital.
Okay.
Entire 2 is a shell, and then P is a subshell, S is a subshell.
Okay.
Okay. So that is the basic outline of just what we need to know. And then the main thing is just we're going to practice how we put the numbers into that. Okay.
Okay.
Good. The last little thing I want you to write down as key knowledge that we can apply is this. So S, how many electrons, an S orbital or an S subshell, how many electrons did we say it could fit in there?
2.
2, perfect. And that's what we got here. 2 can fit in there. Now, if we look at this P subshell, now considering that P has got how many orbitals are in the P subshell?
Out of the second subshell has 8, right?
Okay, absolutely. So there's 8 electrons that can fit in there. And then we've got this 2s. Yep, continue.
So the 2 goes in the 2s and the remaining 6 go in the 2p, right?
Fantastic. So 6 can fit in the P subshell.
Yeah.
That is the total amount. So a P subshell, 6 electrons, and each of those 6 electrons are going to go into 3 orbitals. 1 in there, sorry, 2 electrons in there, 2 electrons in there, 2 electrons in there. Fantastic, brilliant. For the knowledge we've got so far, 2 electrons in an S subshell, 6 electrons in a P subshell. The last 2 subshells you need to know about are D here. So how many electrons does it look like can fit in a D subshell?